extraordinary economic growth data from Argentina in Q3 of 2024. Let's take a look at this remarkable economic growth data from Argentina for the third quarter of 2024. Just a few weeks ago, JP Morgan projected that Argentina's economy might have grown at a quarter-on-quarter rate of 2.1% between July and September compared to the previous quarter. This 2.1% quarterly growth translates to an annualized economic growth rate of 8.5% if sustained throughout all quarters of the year, a figure that made headlines. However, JP Morgan significantly underestimated Argentina's performance. The economy didn't grow by 2.1% quarter-on-quarter, but nearly doubled that rate, achieving 3.9% growth compared to the prior quarter. On an annualized basis, this translates to an impressive growth rate of 16.5%. If Argentina maintained this growth rate across all quarters, it would expand at an annualized pace of more than 16%. Notably, this growth isn't merely a rebound in economic activity levels, but also reflects a significant increase in spending driven by this higher activity. Two key components stand out here: private consumption and private investment. Private consumption, a key driver. Private consumption grew quarter-on-quarter by 4.6%. Why is this substantial increase in consumer spending so significant? Because Argentina is undergoing a period of significant disinflation, a sharp drop in its inflation rate. Many critics previously argued that Argentina's economy was contracting due to a lack of purchasing power, as citizens couldn't afford to spend. According to this view, businesses were forced to moderate price increases or even lower prices in some cases due to weak demand. However, the reality we now see is different. Businesses produced more goods in Q3 2024 than in Q2 2024 because they are selling more thanks to robust growth in consumer spending. Remarkably, this surge in consumer spending coincided with a significant decline in inflation. Monthly inflation fell from 4.6% in September. As of November, inflation has dropped further to 2.4%. But let's focus on the final month of Q3. In Q3 2024, we saw a nearly 5% rise in consumer spending, coupled with declining inflation. According to those theories, such an increase in consumption should have accelerated price dynamics, prompting businesses to raise prices at a faster pace. But that didn't happen. Inflation continued to decline. This challenges the critics' arguments, suggesting that inflation control in Argentina is not linked to collapsing consumption, but rather to fiscal discipline. The comparison with 2023 is even more revealing. Inflation rates in Q3 2023 were 6.3% in July, 12.4% in August, and 12.7% in September. By contrast, in Q3 of 2024, inflation rates were 4% in July, 4.2% in August, and 3.5% in September. During this period, private consumption fell by only 3.2% year-on-year. Can a reduction in consumer spending of just 3.2% truly explain such a dramatic decline in inflation? Clearly not. Moreover, this theory is inconsistent even within its own framework. In Q4 2023, private consumption also fell by 1.5% year-on-year, yet inflation soared. Another standout figure is private investment, with gross fixed capital formation growing by 12% quarter-on-quarter in Q3 2024. Not annualized, but in a single quarter. Investment is the cornerstone of a country's future prosperity. Accumulating capital leads to higher labor productivity, resulting in long-term wage growth and improved living standards. Thus, this surge in investment is excellent news. Moreover, investment is highly sensitive to economic expectations and confidence. Investors allocate capital when they are optimistic about the future, not when uncertainty looms. The fact that investment increased so significantly in Q3 2024 suggests growing confidence and positive expectations for Argentina's economy. This optimism is further reflected in the recent sharp decline in Argentina's country risk premium, which dropped below 700 basis points for the first time since early 2019, a sign of improving trust in Argentina's economic outlook. Sustainable growth on solid foundations. While some may argue that this strong economic growth is merely a rebound from prior declines, it's essential to highlight that the rebound is happening in a much healthier macroeconomic environment. Unlike the unsustainable growth fueled by public debt and inflationary pressures in previous quarters, this recovery is based on sound fundamentals: a fiscal surplus, stable currency exchange rates, controlled inflation, and a trade surplus. In short, the robust economic growth in Q3 2024 validates the government's reform agenda and macroeconomic stabilization efforts. It demonstrates that it is possible to combine fiscal discipline, currency stabilization, and sustainable economic growth. If these trends continue over the coming quarters and years, Argentina could become a global example of the disastrous consequences of excessive fiscal and monetary stimulus and the transformative benefits of liberal economic policies.